Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes a source and, well, really digs into it looking for those key insights.
That's right. We try to unpack the layers.
And today, our source is one we know well as the daily devotional from the H7O ministry. This one is titled, The Mercy That Expects Fruit.
A powerful title.
It really is. And it focuses on that parable of the barren fig tree from Luke chapter 13.
Verses 6 to 9. Yeah, a short passage, but wow, it packs a punch.
It does. So our mission today is to explore what it's saying about, divine patience, our own responsibility, and maybe that urgency of responding to grace.
It's a fascinating tension.
Definitely. Have you ever felt like spiritually you're just sort of taking up space or wondered about second chances and if there's a limit?
I think many have, and this devotional, it jumps right into that feeling, doesn't it?
It really does.
Uh-huh.
So let's get into the parable itself.
Okay, so the devotional lays it out clearly. You've got a man, he plants a fig tree in his vineyard, expects fruit, right?
Right. Makes sense.
But he comes looking for 3 years and finds nothing. Just leaves, basically.
3 years? That seems like a fair amount of time to wait.
It does, and his reaction is pretty direct. Cut it down. Why should it use up the soil?
Stark. But then comes the twist, the intercession part.
Exactly. The gardener steps in, and, many see this figure as representing Christ.
The intercessor.
Yes. And he pleads, "Sir, let it alone this year also, until I dig around it and put on manure."
So he's asking for more time, but not just passive time. He's promising to actively work on it.
Right. He says, essentially, give it one more chance with intensive care. Then, if it still doesn't bear fruit next year, okay, cut it down. It's grace. But it's grace with a purpose and a deadline.
That tension you mentioned earlier is really clear there. The owner representing God, as the devotional suggests, has this clear expectation, fruitfulness, which the devotional says is about visible transformation, real repentance.
Not just looking nice, not just leaves.
Exactly. But then you have this incredible patience, this delay you mentioned, mediated by the gardener. How do we hold those together, the expectation and the patience?
Well, that's the tricky part, isn't it? And the devotional really guides us here. It warns against focusing only on one side.
Like only seeing the expectation might lead to legalism, trying to earn salvation.
Yeah, or performance anxiety, spiritually speaking. But if you only see the patience, you risk complacency, just coasting along.
Thinking that grace is unconditional forever, no response needed.
Right. But the devotional emphasizes the purpose of the patience. It's active. Christ, the gardener, isn't just waiting. He's proposing to tend and fertilize.
He's working to create the conditions for fruit.
Precisely. It shows God's active role in our growth, providing everything needed. So it's less about our desperate effort and more about responding to his diligent care.
Okay, that makes sense. But the devotional is also quite direct about this. Another year. It's generous, yes, but it's not. Indefinite.
No, it's not. It uses phrases like, time is limited, and mercy is real, but it has a limit. There is a definite sense of urgency.
It is time to bear fruit before the door closes. That feels quite final.
It does. It frames this extra time as a specific, maybe intensified period of opportunity. Like you said, a final plea almost.
So for someone listening who feels maybe they've had lots of second chances, how should they understand this idea of limited mercy within the context of, God's amazing grace? It sounds a bit jarring.
It can sound jarring, absolutely. But I think the devotional and the parable are introducing a necessary spiritual realism. God's patience isn't meant to enable ongoing unfruitfulness.
It's patience for a purpose.
Exactly. That another year is an incredible gift, but it implies accountability is coming. It's time for transformation, not just time without consequence.
Like that verse in 2 Peter 3, which the ministry often points to. The Lord is not slow, but is patient toward you, not wishing that any should perish.
But that all should reach repentance. Yes. The goal of the patience is repentance, which leads to fruitfulness, not just putting off the inevitable.
Okay, so that brings us to the fruit itself.
Yeah.
What is this fruit we're supposed to be bearing? The devotional has a great line. Fruit is evidence of life, not decoration.
That's good. Not decoration.
Yeah. And it says, it is not enough to be planted in the vineyard. It must produce something beyond leaves. Just being there, looking the part, isn't the point.
Right. The beyond leaves part really hits home. It means the outward show, maybe attending church, saying the right things, isn't sufficient if there's no real internal change manifesting outwardly.
Otherwise, we might just be taking up space. A hard thought, but maybe a necessary one sometimes.
It is, and the devotional pushes us to examine your faith seriously. Are we stuck in fruitless religiosity?
That's direct.
It is. It asks, is there real evidence? Growth, change, practical love, self-control, service. These aren't, abstract ideas. They're tangible.
Things people can actually see. Like in Matthew 3, bring forth fruits worthy of repentance. Actions backing up the claim.
Exactly. Substance over show. Real spiritual life.
Which leads to another key point the devotional makes. Christ works for us, but not without us.
Ah, the partnership aspect. Yeah.
He's the one fertilizing, watering, pruning, all his active, loving work. But crucially, the devotional adds, he does not force the fruit.
That's vital, isn't it? Our response matters.
It seems so. It says we must respond to grace with living faith and real change. God provides everything, the perfect conditions, but our will, our surrender that's still required.
It's not passive. It's an active participation in the growth he enables. We have to sort of let the fertilizer work.
That idea of respond to grace with surrender is one of the practical application points, isn't it?
Yes. Letting the gardener do his work in us, not resisting during this crucial growing season, this extra year. Being open, pliable.
And the devotional gives us some really searching questions for meditation, too. Like, has my faith produced visible fruit of transformation? That's a personal inventory right there.
Definitely makes you pause. And then there's, have I confused being planted with being fruitful?
Back to the taking up spades idea. Am I just here in the vineyard community, or am I actually producing something valuable for the kingdom?
It challenges that potential complacency of just belonging.
And the third one feels very immediate. What do I need to change in this extra year that the Lord has given me?
Yeah, that brings it right down to today. What specific step, what attitude shift is needed now, assuming we might be in that very extra year? It's a call to act.
Which really flows into the final call to action in the devotional. Bear fruit where God planted you.
Remembering we are in his vineyard, under his care. And the whole point, as it says, is to bear fruit that glorifies the Father.
Like Jesus says in John 15, by this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit.
And so prove to be my disciples.
Exactly.
It connects our personal growth right back to God's purpose and glory. It's not just about us.
And those additional readings the ministry provides really underscore all this. John 15:2, every branch that does not bear fruit, he takes away.
A sobering reminder.
Matthew 3:8, again, the call for fruit worthy of repentance. 2 Peter 3:9, explaining the patience is for repentance.
And Hebrews 6, contrasting the fruitful land that receives blessing with the thorny ground that's, well, eventually burned. It all points to the same thing, the necessity of a fruitful response to God's grace.
So wrapping up this deep dive into the H7O Ministries devotional, The Mercy That Expects Fruit, what's the core takeaway?
I think it's that powerful blend we've been discussing. God's patience, his grace, Christ's intercession, they are incredibly vast, giving us this precious extra time.
But
it's not passive time. It demands a response, real transformation, visible fruit. It's not enough just to be planted. We need to grow and produce.
And that final thought from the devotional really lands it. God's grace is watching over you right now. But remember, the barren fig tree is still being watched.
Don't waste the time of God's patience. Be fruitful today. That today adds such immediacy.
It really does. A challenge for all of us, I think, to genuinely examine our faith, surrender to his work, and focus on bearing fruit right where he has us.
Absolutely. And we just want to say thank you to the H7O community. These daily devotionals are such a gift, truly a source of deep spiritual nourishment and practical wisdom.
They really are.
And if you listening want to learn more about the H7O ministry, maybe support the work that goes into creating resources like this, please do visit h7o.life.
That's h7o.life. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
See you tomorrow. Blessings.
See you tomorrow. Blessings.